Good evening. I'm Sister Polly von Acoker. I need to talk with Buddy for a moment. Buddy Molyneux, where are you? Raise your hand. Buddy, you told me this was RuPaul's Drag Race auditions tonight. What happened? Okay. I guess I need to do a little bit of a history tale about the DFW sisters. But first, let me take a selfie. In my selfie. Come here. Right here. There we go. Now, this is like Ellen, okay? This is going to make us millions of dollars and break Instagram. George, where are you? George. Oh, there he is. Okay, here we are. All right. There we are. All right, there we go. That was kind of like Liza Minnelli trying to climb over the group and getting that selfie, wasn't it? I'm going to try and stay on time. I tried to put together a history of the sisters and realized that 10, 15 minutes is not enough time. So I'm going to give some highlights, though, and try and fit in as much as I can. We're a young group here in Dallas. However, to understand us better, we have to go back in history, back to 1979 with San Francisco, where the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence actually started. They started when a young man left Iowa with some borrowed habits from a nunnery or a convent in Iowa that he told that he was going to do a production of Sound of Music. There we go. He left with those habits, ended up in San Francisco. Just by chance, he had two friends. They had three habits, and it was Easter Sunday. They decided, why not go out on Easter Sunday dressed as nuns in San Francisco? So that was actually the birth of the sisters. They went out, had a great time, had fun, had a wonderful time. They decided, let's do this more often. How about it? Yeah. Now, some people ask, how did the whiteface come into it? There are so many stories about how the whiteface got started. One that I remember that I think may have some truth to it is in San Francisco in those days, it was the days of the muscle leather guys. So if you were someone who wanted to be able to lay down with a hot man, you may not want to be known as a drag queen. You may not want to be recognizable. So one of the stories is that one of the sisters put on white makeup to be anonymous, so no one would recognize him when he was outside of his habit. To this day, we still use the white face as anonymity. And I'll talk a little bit more about that, but it's a way of us being able to open up with people. So many, many years later, after the sisters started there in San Francisco, in the early 80s, there was the HIV crisis, or the gay cancer. The sisters responded to this in the way that became a way of all sisters in trying to be a help to their community. They were the jovial, fun people out there helping people have fun, but then they wanted to do something for their community. One sister, Florence Nightingale, and help me with the other name, Roz Erection, both RNs, Florence Nightmare, excuse me, I had that one wrong. Florence Nightmare created the very first safe sex pamphlet that was distributed to the public. It was one of the crowning glories of the sisters in the early 80s there, and it continues on to this day. It's something that we use here in Dallas still at this time. The sisters grew and shrunk in San Francisco, and over the years, sisters moved away, sisters still wanted to be sisters, and other houses started to form. Now I'm going to fast forward a little bit up to 2010. I'm obviously not using my notes at all, so hopefully the dates will be right. In 2010, there was a group of guys here in Dallas-Fort Worth area, some in Fort Worth, some in Dallas, that really wanted to be sisters. And it actually went back a few years before that. There were a lot of trials and error in trying to get a house started here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Finally, in 2010, the planets aligned, or Satan had his way, one of the two, and a group of people was formed to form a group of sisters here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. In February 2010, they were granted mission status, meaning a trial, as a house of sisters, and they were named the Sisters of the Yellow Rose. Anyone in here remember the Sisters of the Yellow Rose? All right, a few of y'all do. Same group of people as any fledgling organization. We had issues. Shh. Trials and tribulations in trying to grow the group and deciding on the mission here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area resulted in a very humbling experience for the sisters where we actually had to take a step back and look at ourselves and decide what are we going to be for our community. During those early days, the sisters had their very first outing in Easter in the Park. That would have been April 4th, 2010. It was a sight to see here in Dallas-Fort Worth. We've all seen someone in drag. But have we seen a man with a beard and a white face and an ugly prairie dress walking through the park at Lee Park? Oh my goodness. And back then, the Sisters of the Yellow Rose had a lovely little prairie hat for their coronet. They weren't quite at the boob stage yet. And I remember standing in the park that day. I was not a member of the group at that time. I'd been asked by two wonderful sisters, Sister Evangelica and Sister Bertha Sin, both sitting over here, not dressed up. That's all right. But they had asked me early on when they were forming the group if I wanted to join. I did. The problem was their first outing was going to be Easter in the park. As a gay man, what do I do on Easter? I have a giant bonnet to wear in the park. So I was like, I'll have to wait. So here I am in the park, and I see the sisters start coming down. What an amazing sight. Sister Bertha Sen, who would soon become my mother in the house, looking like the most precious Ronald McDonald you've ever seen in your life. There are pictures on our website, dfwsisters.org, if you would like to see those. Makeup in the early days was not pretty. It was something that we tried and tried and tried, and I still don't know if it's pretty or not, but I can deal with it now. But we would work together as a group in an apartment over at the Illume, overlooking Cedar Springs. 10 of us in a room with glitter and makeup, trying to look our prettiest and working together and making ourselves presentable to go out to our community. But what was the purpose of us going out in our community? Why would we want to put on a habit, a white face, and a bunch of makeup? What would be the purpose of that? Well, we wanted to fulfill some of the mission of the Sisters of San Francisco, as well as do the things that we could for our community here. We're here to spread joy in our community. If I can make someone laugh because I'm dressed like this, if someone smiles when they see a sister walk up, oh my gosh, what an uplifting thing that is for all of us to be able to smile. Sometimes that's all we need. Sometimes a person in our community needs a hug from us. We're there to be able to give them that hug. We're also here to teach and educate. We're here to pass out condoms. You'll see sisters carrying a purse. There's a reason for that purse, not just because we want a Coach bag, because they're not, I promise. Mine's a couch. But those purses there's a reason we have those, so that we can carry what we call a bliss kit. It's a packet with 2 condoms, some lube, and a nice mint. Fresh breath is always important. And here's one right here. And it's something that we always want everyone to know that the sisters have and are available. For a long time, we didn't see condoms in our bars. The bowl of condoms was not there. We did not have easy access to condoms. Our goal is not to tell everyone they must, have to, et cetera, but we want to make sure that we get things in people's hands that can help prevent disease of all types, and to be able to have that available to them. I will tell you there's so many times as a sister that I've been out and someone walks up to me and goes, I hear you have condoms, can I have some? I've had straight women come up and say, I hear you have condoms, can I have some? Absolutely. Anyone who needs them, we want to make sure we have them. That's one of our primary missions in what we do. And why we do what we do is to make sure that we can provide a service to our community. Not just because we like to dress up this way. It's kind of fun. I do like the heels. But it's one of our main missions is to make sure that we are helping people in that respect. We're also here for our community in fundraising and working with other organizations and making sure they have the money that they need to provide the services to our community. We get called upon by just about every organization in town. Can the sisters come to this event? Hopefully we're able to always say yes. Sometimes if it's a weeknight, right after work, it's a little difficult because every one of our members is actually out there in the workforce. It's all volunteer what we do as sisters. They pay for everything that they have on their body. All of the money that we raise goes back to one of our charitable organizations. So if we get a call from an organization, one of the things we often do is sell raffle tickets. Anyone been to bingo and seen the sisters at bingo? Oh my gosh. The sisters are there to collect as much money as we can from folks to make sure it goes back to our organizations. It's hard for anyone to say no to a nun, especially if they were raised Catholic, as I. And I have walked around with the yardstick before. Bejeweled, of course, but whatever it takes. That's what we will do. One of my favorite fundraisers we ever did here in Dallas was a kickball tournament with the Dallas Diablos. Oh my gosh. Kickball. Imagine Dallas summer heat. A park over in Park Cities area. Dirt, not grass. A dirt field that we're playing in. Dallas Diablos start off the game by exercising and warming up. Oh my God, the sisters were all out there. We wore tennis shoes that day, but we got our skirts on. We have our coronets on. We have everything on. And oh my gosh, here are the fit people. Running around, doing stretches. We tried to keep up. It didn't work. But we had a way to raise money, and that was to get the audience that was there for that event to pay to let the sisters cheat. Those people out there, they would pay $25 for an out against the other team. They paid $100 at one point so that all of the Dallas Diablos had to drop their pants and run around in their underwear the rest of the game. Hey, that's a smile on your face, isn't it? And we raised money for Legacy Cottage by doing that. That event, that sweaty, hot event, raised $1,400 Legacy Cottage. It also gave us an opportunity to bond with other organizations here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We went over to the Hideaway. It was a Sunday, so it was Sunday Fun Day. And we learned how rugby people do their drinking games. Anyone done that with them before? You drink out of a dirty shoe. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But that's an example of one of our fundraisers. Another fundraiser that we do is the DFW Sister Pool Party. My party. We're in our 4th year. I'm making a plug for it right now, July 26th. All proceeds go to LifeWalk, as it has every year. But we will do an event if we can raise money for another organization, or we'll be there for them. Our purpose is to be here to serve. We are sisters. We are nuns. We are here for service and provide that assistance wherever we can. We also have many times opportunities to talk one-on-one with someone. Those opportunities sometimes turn out to be very emotional experiences for us. Because when we're out at the bars doing what we call a bar ministry, we may be passing out condoms. We may just be spreading joy. We may be out having a nice drink ourselves. We may be out having a cigarette out on the front porch. You never know. But that's when people come up and talk to us. That's when people come and ask, what's this all about? What's with the white face? And it gives us an opportunity then to kind of tell them about our mission, what we do. And sometimes it's surprising what they start talking with us about. And as sisters, we've had to learn to be prepared for those times. I had a young man named Derek, 21 years old, so he said. He was in the bar. I think he was lying about the 21, but very young man, very, very young guy. And he asked me, what's this about? I started telling him a little bit about our story, what we do. He looked at me and he goes, can we talk for a little bit? I'm like, absolutely. He said, you know, I never thought that I would have to use any type of protection during sex. I always thought that, you know, people are undetectable these days, so there's no purpose in it. That led into a very long conversation. He and I talked for over an hour. It's a moment, what we call a sister moment, when we actually feel like we connect with someone and are able to actually share with them. I want to share with you all in closing the message that Derek sent to me the next day. And it's, to me, why we do what we do. For me, it is my history here in Dallas as a sister, and the history of the sisters and what we do. This is from Derek. Hello. I just want to thank you again for your service that you and your sisters are doing. I was one of the young guys that you talked to about HIV. I was never taught nor ever took the time to learn about HIV and how it can affect your life along with other diseases you can catch by having unprotected sex. The more I thought about it, the more I cried. I've been doing this for so long, and I feel like you have saved my life. You saved my life by sharing your concerns and the facts with me. You didn't have to, but you did. Thank you for making a difference in my life. As I write this email, I'm even crying. I really am thankful for people like you and your sisters that are in this world protecting gay people of all ages by filling them in on some information that can save their life. You have saved me, and I will be forever thankful for that. I only hope to be as good as a person as you someday. You are helping people every day and making a difference. You and your sisters have my full support for anything. I owe you a lifetime of work. Again, thank you for making a difference in my life and changing my habits and my mistakes. Now, whenever I think about sex, I will always make sure to use a condom no matter how much in the moment I am at that time. You're an amazing person. Thank you for saving me and making a difference in my life. Thank you, with much love. Derek.
Thank you. May I keep this kit? Yes. Thank you. Oh my God.
That's my phone. I need that. My cell phone's on it.
Can I keep them both here? Take one out.
Oh, no, we have some of our wonderful sisters with us here tonight. Three of the sisters up here are the very, very original ones here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I want to introduce them first. Kiriana Cross, Bertha Sin, Sister Evangelica. On the end here, we have Sister Lana Jockey. I thought her name should have been Pedophile Bait, but that's just it was my idea. Sister Blanche Davidian, who is responsible for all the fabulous jewelry. We have Devlin Red, novice sister, on her way to becoming a fully professed sister. And postulant Lola Hangers. Novice sister Lola Hangers. Sorry, I missed the meeting. I apologize. She was there. Oh, not really. So these are just some of our sisters. We're about 46 strong here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area now.